Now let's create the rear view mirrors and the instrument display. Alright, so the rear view mirrors, we're going to start by drawing them out. You can see these are the mirrors right here. And so I'm going to go and turn off the working pivot. And so let's go ahead and go to the back view. So we'll go to a back view. And now we'll just draw them out in here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use just a box. I'll go ahead and draw it roughly out in here. Give it a little bit of thickness. Okay, let's go ahead and move it up more into position here. And now I want to draw the shape from the front of this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and dial this number of segments down here, but I'll go ahead and dial the number of segments up to 3 on the length and the width. Okay, let's go ahead and now convert to an editable poly. And let's go ahead and take those points. And these I want to go ahead and scale down a bit. Okay, and then this is going to come up to this point. Okay, and then we'll come over here, just using some of the reference that we have here. You can see this kind of shape is what we're going for. So I'll go ahead and just add that in. Kind of move that shape up a little bit, and then just smooth this out. So you end up with a shape that is something similar to that. Okay, doesn't have to be exact, but that's kind of the idea. Pull this out a little bit. All right. So once we have a shape similar to that, we can now come in, and this is going to be similar to the taillights. So the front we want to be flat. The back we don't really want to be flat. So I'm going to go ahead and take the back polygons, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of scale those down a little bit. Okay, and just kind of tweak those. And I'll go ahead and take the kind of the vertices in the center and just kind of move those out as well. So you get kind of a softer look on the back there. Now let's go ahead and create the mirror part of the front. So we'll go ahead and take these front polygons. Okay, let's go ahead and now inset them the thickness of the frame. So it'll be something like that. Say OK to that. And now go ahead and extrude those in. Extrude that in. And let's start by extruding it in just a very small amount. Apply that a little bit more. Okay. Let's go ahead and now inset that just to give a little bit of a gap there between the mirror. And we'll go ahead and extrude it back out. Okay, and then inset it again to give the hardness of the mirror. Okay, then on these edges, we'll go ahead and select the ring, and then go ahead and connect with 2 segments. Go ahead and push those out to the ends. Okay, we need to add a division in here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this edge. And let's actually choose this edge here. Go ahead and select the loop, and let's go ahead and chamfer that. Okay. So we end up with something like that. Just kind of smooth that out. We'll go ahead and now select one of these new loops. Okay. And let's go ahead and chamfer that. Okay, and this time we'll go ahead and add the resolution that we need to create that division. So go ahead and select the center one, select the loop, go ahead and scale that in. Okay, now we can check it. If we smooth it out here, you can see what that looks like. And it looks like we need to add one more iteration. Okay, so you end up with something like that with a nice division there. Okay, and you can go ahead and kind of bring that up and sort of rotate it into position there. Okay, and I'm going to pull it out a little bit further. So you get something like that, something close to that at least. Maybe rotate it a little bit more. And now we need to actually create the geometry that flows down next to the handlebars. So to do that, I'm going to use a spline. Okay, and I'm going to draw it from the point that we want to attach on the handlebars up to the point on the mirror. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a line Okay, and I'll just kind of start it up here and bring it down here. Okay, and I want to actually attach it up at this point. Okay, let me turn the rendering off, and then we can tweak the shape of the line. So I kind of overshot a little bit. Okay, and so I want to go ahead and I'm just going to scale this down a little bit and bring it down slightly. Okay, and then I can tweak this line, and I just want to get kind of a nice curve there. Alright, let's go ahead and move this into the correct position. So we'll move it kind of right up here, and then we can go ahead and tweak our lines here. Okay, so it can kind of curve out a little bit. Okay, and you end up with something like that. Okay, so now we need to extrude some faces along this guy. Alright, so let's go ahead and select this. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that smoothing off for now. Okay, and then I can go ahead and choose what faces I want to actually extrude across here. Okay, so we can go ahead and take these polygons, and let's go ahead and take these right here. Okay, and we'll go ahead and just make a smooth transition. So I'm going to go ahead and just take all of those. And now we want to extrude along spline, so I'll go ahead and open up that. Go ahead and pick the spline, and there we've chosen the spline. You can choose the number of segments that you have. You can choose a taper amount, so we want to taper this down quite a bit. Okay, you can change the curve of that, we can twist it. Okay, so you can see how it's kind of giving us a little bit of weirdness here. So in this case, you might want to choose some different a different selection of faces. You might want to try, if it does that, you might want to try just those. That might give you a little bit better result, just coming off the side there. Okay, going to align to face normal, which will push it out in that direction. Okay, otherwise it'll stay along the spline. Okay, we've got the taper set there. So we'll say OK to that, and then we can just come in and modify these points to kind of smooth it out a little bit. Okay, kind of bring these out, bring these forward. Okay, and you could even include these if you wanted to. Okay, these faces in here. If you want to include all of these, you could do that as well. You know, include that, and then all of these faces in the middle. So it's kind of up to you, you know, which faces you want to add to this. Whatever works best for the bike that you're doing. Okay, and if you did it with these, you'd get a result like that, coming straight off of the side. So whatever you want to do, but you're still going to have to do some tweaking. No matter what you do, you're going to have to do some tweaking on the actual points themselves. Alright. Okay, so let's go ahead and now make the instrument panel, and it'll be the same way that we did the mirror. We'll just add a box. Go ahead and draw out the box. Okay. Draw out that box, give it some thickness. Drop it in the center. Go ahead and convert it to an editable poly, and then start doing your shaping on that. So we take these points here, move these out, move these up. Okay. And then on the back side of that, go ahead and move that into position. On the back side, you'd want to taper it down quite a bit. Okay, so this is going to be right down here. And you can see it from the side view here. this piece right here. Okay, so we'd want to taper that down quite a bit. You could take the polygons or the vertices and do that. Just kind of taper that down. Okay. And then you could take that face in the center here, pull that out. And just kind of generally just smooth this out a little bit on the back. And you've still got that flat front that you're able to use. Okay. And so for this flat front, we would just do the exact same thing that we did for the front of the mirror. Okay. And then we go ahead and just kind of scale this up and rotate it into position. All right. Okay, and then you go ahead and add that detail in there. All right, so just go ahead and do that, and then in the next lesson we'll continue on with the handlebars by adding detail like the hand brakes and some of the brake lines, etc. So let's go ahead and do that next.